Hey, hi. Hi. No, there's got to be a better way to do this. Hello. Hey, Jeff has cool friends. I got to get better at starting a podcast. Tom,
Yes. I didn't know when I was
Tom,
supposed to
it's
jump
Jeff.
in.
Tom, you're never going to guess what time it is.
No, you're right. I'm not. I'm
You're
not
a
going to.
fool.
I refuse to play these games.
You're a fool, Tom. You're an absolute fool because, of course, it's another episode. It's not the
Ah,
same.
you tricked
It's
me.
not the same. Tom
You
Reimann.
trickster god.
Tom Reimann, one of my best friends and my co-host of
Aw,
Tom and Jeff
thanks.
Watch Batman, a man whom I have not spoken to in the long form in what feels like 2 months.
2 or 3 months. Indeed, no one
Only
has.
because I accidentally, the last time I've had like a long conversation was when I was accidentally
Right. You were in my
in North
home.
Carolina, right?
You're right. Yeah, you were in the city that I live in.
I don't know. Did we record after that? I don't think we did.
No,
Wow.
I
So the
don't think
last time
so.
we like really talked was face to face.
That might be true. We might have done one or two
Might have
Batman
done
before
that.
that.
Tom, if you don't know who Tom is, I don't know what world you're circulating in where you somehow are a member of my Patreon or listening to my show. And like Tom's just a blank spot is wild to me. So I feel like
I've
feel like
I've
I have
tried
to be.
the I've tried the I don't know why you don't know who I am thing before, and it's only gotten me banned from Olive Garden.
Yeah, well, because you always say, "Don't you know who my father is?"
That's true. I do say that.
And it's weird because like no, just like no,
Of
like
course
why
not.
would
Why
they
would
know
anybody
that?
know
Yeah,
who
why
he
would
was?
anybody at
Yeah.
Olive Garden know that? But
And anyway, I just show them a picture of me with a mustache drawn on.
like a big Mario mustache.
This was my father, a captain of industry.
Tom, there's this guy in my boxing gym, and I want to say a kid because I'm 1,000 years old. And he is not. He is a kid in his 20s or 30s, which is a child to me. And he has like kind of like a curly mustache.
Uh-huh.
He's really like a nice kid, but he's got a curly mustache, which
He's
is
got a time traveler's mustache.
that's a
Sure.
choice. It's a choice.
Hmm.
He got on his penny farthing bicycle to
It's more of a lifestyle than a choice,
a
actually.
little bit. My favorite thing is to never address people when they have that mustache, never bring up the mustache
Oh yeah.
because they want to talk.
It's a dare. It's a facial dare. It's a staring
Yeah.
contest. It's implicit.
But he came
They're,
in
they're all wait. Everybody who has that mustache is waiting for you to mention the mustache.
he came in blue shorts and a blue tank top. And I just looked at him and I said, "You look like the third Mario brother." I was like, "You look like Giuseppe Mario."
Why Giuseppe?
It was just so fun. I was like, "You just look like a Mario brother." He did. He looked exactly like a Mario brother. Tom, I don't know why I got into that story so much. Tom, now there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about. For one,
Sure.
I just wanted to talk to you.
The
So
only
I
way
was,
to do it is
and
by
so, and
recording
so I
it.
was like, I guess if I can make it content, we can find time to do it. Because there's
Yeah, if we can
like
monetize it, I'll speak to you. Yeah,
because
that's
Tom, you are an incredible writer, podcaster. Of course,
oh
gainfully
stop.
unemployed. You do stuff with 1-900 Hot Dog. You write with Some More News. You made a baby.
I did.
A very big multi hyphenate here. You have a new show out
I
that I
do.
purposely have asked you to not tell me too much about. When you booked me to do an appearance on the show,
Mhm.
this is a show called Badical.
It is. It's called Badical. You can
Give
find
me a
it on
little bit.
any
Give me
any
an
any
intro.
place you can find podcasts. Apple Podcasts. I think it's definitely on SoundCloud. I think it's probably on Spotify by now. Just search for it. I don't think we have I'm working on setting up a YouTube, but anyway, yeah, it's called Badical.
Tell me or tell the listeners, because I have the gist of it at this point in time, but I need you to tell the listeners like the theme of the show, and that'll explain why I didn't want to know a lot about it.
It's basically it's a faux interview podcast about a video game that doesn't exist. If you're a fan of Small Beans, it's a little bit inspired by Marvels of the Science, but it's essentially it essentially takes place in a universe where Mortal Kombat doesn't exist, and instead it's this video game called Badical. So basically everything all the controversy and everything that made Mortal Kombat famous in this universe is what made Badical famous. But the interviews are completely improv. It's not written. So we just have guests come on and play different people involved with the making of the game. Like we have Mike and Abe on as the creators of the
Which is
game.
great. That
And
was like the second episode.
yeah, it's the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
episode. Yeah, it's me and Dave. David Bell over
Yeah,
at
you're
Gamefully Unemployed. We're interviewing these people, but the whole thing is improv. So it's really there's a couple of like quote unquote canon points about the video game, but the idea was to basically give you a clear spoof of Mortal Kombat, so you kind of knew like the baseline of what Badical is supposed to be, but to have the rest of the game just be we make it up as we go along, so it just gets progressively more deranged as the episodes go on.
yeah, and you do also retrofit your own history to the interviews, which I
Yes,
realized after the fact because when you hit me up to do this, you had me guest on. I believe I'm in the third or fourth episode.
the third episode.
And you were like, your character is named Jaron Billiams, and your character was essentially Jose Canseco. Like
Yeah,
that's what you're doing, like the essence of Canseco. And so I was like, all right. And I like really amped myself up for this. I think I did the whole interview for audio podcast. I did the whole interview in Oakley sunglasses,
you did, yeah.
Oakley's a bandana, and a tie-dye sleeveless t-shirt.
We thought we still might do video. Not everybody was able to do it, so we still might do, but you're not the only person who was appeared in
Really?
costume, in
Oh, I
character,
like
yeah.
that a lot.
No, Mike and Abe did
Oh,
too.
did they? That's awesome. And but from the end, and then I was like, okay, great. I don't want to know anything more. And the reason I didn't want to know anything more is because like I love the show. like
Oh,
like I genuinely want to listen to the show and I like surprises. I don't want to go in knowing what's happening. And yeah, it was great. We did an improv 40-minute.
something like that, yeah. And then I went through and trimmed it down. It's cleaned up interview in improv. Like Judd Apatow.
Yeah,
Only
right.
little tighter on the time though. I'm trying to get it down to like 30 or 40 minutes. But yeah, no, that's very kind of you to say, because I mean, it's if it's any good, most of the reason is because of the guests that are on it, like you. So we have like a couple of prepared questions beforehand, and I gave you some. I gave everybody some notes, like Jeff was saying. But other than that, it's I say you pick and choose the notes that you want to use. You can use all of them or none of them. Just kind of do whatever you want to do, and we just kind of go from there. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I picked the character. So if I want to give a little backstory now, after
Mhm.
my episode has gone up, is I created a character with an amorphous backstory that was a complete dirtbag. And one of the things I really tried to do was subtly change accents like every 8 to 12 minutes of just like adding. I think at one point, like I added a little bit of a twang, like an
You're
Australian
like
twang at
you're
one
like
point.
deep southern at one
I
point.
did. I went deep southern. So you did notice that.
I didn't know
Okay.
if you were doing it on purpose or if it was just like self-indulgence.
Well, I set a little alarm on my phone to go off. Like I forget what I set it to, but like if you go back, and obviously the editing does change that if you go back and time it out.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you do, I keep like code and accent switching throughout the episode because I wanted this guy to be the most unreliable narrator that you could imagine. Because when Adam Todd Brown and I did Jose Canseco, and one of the biggest things we pulled out of Jose's books is that he is telling the truth while being an unreliable narrator. And so I took that essence from the books of him being just like a truth-telling dirtbag who's also maybe a liar.
Man,
And
you went real deep on it. Yeah.
I respect the craft, Tom. But I wanted to do that. And I was like, well, look, it's you say it went deep, but like that's not a ton of prep. That's just me coming in with a lot of Jose Canseco information.
Really, really too much, some might say, but
I think all would say. I don't think
certainly a
there's a
wealth of
person
it.
on this planet that's like that needs more Jose Canseco information. So it really wasn't work. It was just like awareness. But
Yeah, no, I appreciate the subtlety though.
it
That hadn't even occurred to me.
it's fun. It's fun that way. And I was like, this is great. I love the idea. I don't get to do a lot of fictional podcasts. You know,
No, and that's
you don't
something
either,
that
really. Like,
no, and that's something that when Dave and I initially were coming up with Gamefully Unemployed with a Patreon that we would want to do, after we all got laid off from Cracked, we were sort of starting it around the idea that we would be doing more game streaming, but also more narrative podcasts. Like we had a bunch of ideas for narrative
Well, because it
shows
was called story
initially.
mode. Like that was like the big
Yes,
thing.
exactly right. Yeah, we initially our podcast network was called Story Mode, and then that just was confusing, and we shouldn't have done it, and it was weird to do it in the first place. So that was jettisoned a long time ago. But yeah, like we started out with two role playing podcasts. We had Big Trouble in Tango and Cassia and Choose Your Own Misadventure. So the initial idea was we were going to do way more narrative stuff, and that stuff's hard to do. It takes a lot of
It's
time.
a lot of work. Yeah.
It takes a lot of time.
Actually, good podcasts are a lot of work in
Yes,
general.
yes, but the narrative stuff just became trickier and trickier to do because it does take a lot of time, and we're all sort of juggling day jobs as well as all of these shows. So it's and then now I have a baby, so I'm juggling that baby. Literally juggling the baby.
Literally
I'm trying
juggling the
to
baby. You're
trying
like
to improve on that.
one of those
I'm trying
vaudevillian guys that got
exactly.
to
No, I'm trying to
film.
monetize the baby any way I can. And she's not quite ready for YouTube, so I'm going vaudeville. I'm going carnival attraction.
I do love that, like when vaudeville was trying to survive in the era of the moving picture, they were just like, let's just do some freaky dangerous
Yeah,
on
what if I throw a knife at my brother? Let's try it.
let's drop a building on Buster Keaton and hope he doesn't die.
Yeah. He's going to stand in it as long as he doesn't move.
A lot of wishing happening at that era.
And not like doesn't move like a little, like there's no clearance. You can't move at all.
I've watched that stunt so many times, and I
It's
look at it
unbelievable.
and
It
I'm just
really
like,
is.
everybody, because like even if like the bottom shifted a little bit or something in the
He's
fall,
dead. Yeah.
like damn.
Yeah. That's if you youngins haven't seen that clip of Buster Keaton standing where the building facade falls on him and then he just perfectly the window goes over him and he doesn't die.
I know, like you could be
You
like,
should watch it.
yeah, like stunts are crazy. Like, did you see the Fall Guy? Like, those were crazy. And I'm like, you know what else is a crazy stunt? Is a man standing still while an entire building falls around him at an era where they were owned by studios.
Yeah, and when in an era where if they wanted to simulate gunshots, they just shot a gun.
They shot to the side. I love the Wild West of American cinema, by the way.
I know. You know how they used to make horses fall down? They used to trip them and break their legs. So if you're watching
Get
an
it?
old movie where horses are getting shot,
When Milo and Otis came out, and then it came out like a year later that like when they filmed it in Japan, they killed like 30 Milo and Otises.
there were many Milos and
So many
Otises.
Milos and Otai died.
It was
And
like the end of the Prestige.
right. But like, and everyone was like, can you believe they did that? And the Japanese were like, you guys did that so much. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
what's the
1989,
problem?
Japan. You can't do this. It was a real surprise that like when you find that out and you're like, wait,
It
that's
was unexpected. I really adored that movie as a kid.
and also like super surprised that it's like out of nowhere a Japanese movie. Where I was just like, it's not that like I just don't see those a lot in the that don't have like kaiju.
Well, I think it's just more of the production being located there because the laws around using animals in films are different, I think.
I think that's pretty clear.
'Cause you're technically not even supposed to be able to squash a bug in an American movie, although they do that all the time.
I would.
Anyway,
You know how many bugs I've squashed on set?
no, I don't have that
I don't either,
figure.
actually. I don't have that figure as well either.
I feel like it's a lot, though. The way you set the question up, it feels like it's a lot.
It's my job. It was my job.
Like it feels like a shameful amount,
I was
actually.
the
Like
bug cruncher. Yeah.
you should be uncomfortable with how many bugs you've killed.
I just got out one of those old timey push lawnmowers and I would just run over fields of bugs.
No, it was really an unusual amount. He would chase them down, just sprinting after a dragonfly.
Actually, at one point in time, Jeff just sprinted into a pet shop with a weed whacker, and I don't want to know what happened, but it was not good. So Badical is it's a bi-weekly show, right? So
Yeah. This past week's episode it was late, but yes, it is a bi-weekly show. It's a mini series technically, but I am planning on doing seasons.
are the seasons going to be like Badical 2, or is it going to be different versions of different types of games?
Probably both.
Like a weird Tetris.
Well, exactly. Like if you think about, so basically I said up top, like this is a universe in which Mortal Kombat never existed. So if you think about every iteration of Mortal Kombat games that have existed, like they've done all the fighting games, like the regular games in the series, but they've also done like 3D action games. They did a role
That
playing game.
Sub-Zero game, that was the worst
Exactly.
game ever.
I love that game. Mortal Kombat Mythologies.
Oh,
They did the Special Forces game where you played as Jax. Also
that
done
could have
like a,
been good.
it could have been the Shaolin Monks game was pretty sweet for PS2. That was a 3D action game. But and then there's been like puzzle, like a Tetris thing, like a puzzle fighter type thing that
There
was like a,
was a Mortal Kombat one?
yeah, it was a mini game on Mortal Kombat Deception. It wasn't its own release, but there was a kart racer on Mortal Kombat Armageddon. So there's a lot of things to play around with. Like obviously there's movies,
Yeah.
cartoon shows. The next episode coming up is Robert Brockway plays the writer and illustrator of the Badical comics.
Oh,
So there's a lot
published by
of
Malibu.
published by Daytona Comics in the Badical universe. But yes,
Daytona Comics is the funniest name to have as a comics company.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's there's a lot of different. I mean, there was a stage show, like a touring stage show.
There was a cartoon.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a cartoon show. There was that weird daytime cable show.
There was the G.I. Joe action figure equivalencies.
They definitely did that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. So
All bad.
my idea was for subsequent seasons would be, yeah, like Badical 2, but then also like the Badical stage show or like the Badical animated series and the Badical album.
Dude, I told you, right? Like the day that my episode went up, I was running that day. Because did it drop on Thursdays?
Fridays,
Fridays. I would like
bi-weekly on Fridays.
I had gone for a run or something, and the Mortal Kombat's like the theme
Oh
came
yeah.
on because I run to a Daft Punk Pandora station, so it's like pretty open to like just electronic music that tends to be from that era. So
Right, but I thought
showed
the
up.
the Skrillex reptile theme though is part of your workout playlist.
That's on my literal playlist that I have a playlist I call Run You Fat Turd, and that is like a boxing and running playlist. But like it used to be Google Music, and then they're like, now it's YouTube Music, and I'm like, F you. I paid for this. I paid for these songs. Now you're making me have to go on a YouTube thing to listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the actual like the Test Your Might, that song came on. I was just like synergy. I do love that. Like I love the idea too of like Batical and like the new, you know how they have like, oh, it's like RoboCop, or you can be the Terminator or Rambo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I love the idea of like what people you could get.
We've done a couple of jokes about that already, but yeah, definitely I wanted to have that space for,
Like
I
mocap
mean,
Abe Vigoda as the last thing
exactly. I
did or
mean, well,
something.
like having your character be so like the idea was like they tried to get Jose Canseco because it's a riff on in real life in Mortal Kombat. It was initially supposed to be a video game starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, and they were ultimately not able to get him. So that's who Johnny Cage is. He's Van Damme from Bloodsport if you look at him in the first game. So that's the idea of your character was just it's Jose Canseco, but they couldn't get Jose Canseco. So
And
yeah, the idea of different, like Edward James almost comes up in your episode. I think we talk about Ronaldo being a guest character in the first episode. But yeah, definitely I wanted to have that idea of getting these
yeah,
crazy, not just celebrities, but like weird like RoboCop
esoteric
and stuff. Yeah.
esoteric choices of characters.
Like the
It's
Grinch, like something real bizarre.
yeah, like the Grinch would be so good.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Like who you would want, like you'd be like, Batical, you can get the cast of The Godfather in a fighting
Right.
game.
Just John what was his name? John Casal, who
Or like
played
or the
Fredo.
Irishman. And it's de-aged Robert De Niro still moving like an old man.
Like a trash bag full of sticks.
Or Ryu from Street Fighter 2. You're like, wait, you
Yeah.
put him in? We got sued. We lost a lot of money on that one. Now, I just like it is one of those things where like I'm mildly obsessed with the show
Oh,
because
me
I
too.
think the opportunity, well, you have to be. If you're in the middle of getting it out and you stop being obsessed with it, that's kind
It's harder to get out than I thought it was going to be because I
yeah.
write all those I had the first 2 pre-written, but the others I've had to just kind of write in the weeks coming up to when it gets released. And actually, for your episode, I wrote and recorded that intro probably 2 days before the episode came out.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
That's I don't think people know how in the can some things aren't before
Oh,
they
yeah.
go up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I
It's
I get my edits for this show usually like Monday night around 11, and I post it at 12:01 Tuesday mornings. So, and I like schedule it. So I have like roughly about an hour of leeway between when I get the edit in and I do my write up and when it
you'd
actually
be
publishes on the Patreon.
yeah, and you'd be surprised how often that's true for TVs and movies.
I mean,
TV shows and
sometimes you
movies.
look at like, you know, the making of like The Hobbit 3, and he was just like, I gotta stop filming because I don't know how to do this battle. And he just stopped. He's like, I need some time off. And I always thought that was really interesting. Tom, you know what else is interesting, by the way? I don't know if
What's
you know,
that?
but I have producers that produce a show. They give me
Oh,
money.
that
I
is
stole that idea
interesting.
from you and
I
Dave.
mean, we didn't invent that.
I know, but I did steal that from you. I still said like I bleep out all the cursing on the free episodes. I stole that from Alex.
That's a good idea.
And Alex is just like, well, you know, SEO and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I want to punish people that are listening for free. Actually, that's just the kind of man I no, I'm just kidding. I appreciate
I need to get Alex on Badical.
Alex would be
I have an
so
idea for a character for him to play.
I I have two different directions you could go in my head, and I feel like I want to say them. Can I
I
say them?
know exactly what they are, I think.
One is absolute brutal maniac,
Yep.
and then the other one would be
Just
unassuming
Alex.
serial killer, or just Alex.
Just Alex.
We
Yeah.
brought on Alex Schmidt, who plays Alex Schmidt in
No,
Bad.
just a really nice guy who was excited to be part of the game.
I was just really happy to be.
No, it was just a really good experience.
So you got really badly injured. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, terribly. Yeah, no,
Terribly.
I can't move this arm more than a quarter inch in that direction
Yeah.
because of Chomper's violent bloody or
Yeah,
whatever.
if I ever see a Chevy Nova, I go into fits of cold sweat. I don't know
Start
how.
grinding my teeth.
If you head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May, you can, for a ridiculously low amount of money, I will say your name out loud on the show and we will talk about it. Tom will talk about it. For example, I'm going to big shout out to the Enchanted Wandering Unpierced Left Nipple Cider served at room temperature, who
Okay.
drove to Mint on Card last week. Few hours.
Wow. That's difficult. Nipples don't have hands.
No, but he does wander. So we don't know how.
I guess if you're pierced, you could loop it around the steering wheel.
Yeah. But they brought me a birthday present. Isn't
Oh,
that
that
so
was
nice?
nice. Yeah, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, I hugged him like 6 times. I mean, I think I overdid the hug. Let me know in the
Well,
comments if I overdid the hug on you, bud, because
I can already tell that you did because you counted them.
I am thinking about it. Because I was,
Yeah.
man, I think I kept going back in for a hug because I was so touched. I was like, I'm
If
so
you
touched.
kept count of the hugs, it was too many.
I think I'm undercutting the amount of hugs too.
I'm lowballing myself.
I'm
Actually.
lowballing the hug. I'm giving myself a conservative half dozen, but you know. Shout out to Funky J. Mostly comes out at night. Mostly. Shout out to, I'm going to start calling Yoda Old Grogu just to see what happens. Shout out
That's
to
a
the
good
ghost
name.
of Dave Thomas. How many? I wonder how many of these are ones that you recognize from
Oh,
your
definitely
show.
Funky J and Dave Thomas. Yeah.
Shout out to that scene in Lost City where Brad Pitt dies. Shout out to Aldo Vargas is adding Jeff has cool friends producer to his resume. Again, I cannot stress this enough. I will lie for you on your job applications. You are welcome to do that.
Oh yeah, college application, any kind of application, really.
I will. I'm going to put a tier on my Patreon that's like, I will write a letter of recommendation for you.
Right.
Jeff May, Charlton Middle School. That would be good. That would be a good one. Shout out to Burrito. You a burrito guy, Tom?
We are, yeah. I think I know burrito.
What's your go-to order on a burrito? Like a real burrito, not like a Taco Bell burrito.
Oh, honestly, just beans and cheese.
Oh,
Or I like a
really?
good potato burrito.
Vegetarian?
Yeah,
How did I
mostly.
not know that you're a vegetarian?
Yeah, no, I'll eat since I started going to the gym, I'll eat turkey or chicken,
No,
just because it's freaking hard to get your protein
I'll eat animal.
otherwise. But yeah, no, I like a good just bean and cheese or the potato burrito. The 69-cent bean burritos from Taco Bell used to be what
You
I
son
lived
of a
on.
bitch! I said you couldn't do that.
I know.
They're not a sponsor, Tom.
I'm a simple kind of man.
Ooh, like that song by that band.
Exactly like that song by that band.
I forget what the name of the band is, but I have the song
I have
going through
no
my head.
idea.
I was
What
like,
is
is
it?
that
Leonard
it's one of
Skinner?
those it's one of yeah, is it Leonard Skinner? I
I
think it's
think it
Leonard Skinner.
is.
That's the kind of a song that gets covered by Puddle of Mud. Right? Like that's the
Yeah.
kind of song or like Aaron Lewis would do it at an acoustic concert he was putting on. And then he would suck so much.
And then Fred Durst would comically play the guitar.
I'm really feeling those ladders. You know what's funny is you remember that song, right? I'm on the
Oh
outside.
yeah.
And that was like, remember, that was a cultural, it was a
It's a big hit.
flare of flame for like 3 to 4 months, right? It was
Mhm.
like this huge thing. So I'm from central Massachusetts. Aaron Lewis is from Western Mass. And
All
there's
right.
this really terrible radio station that was like the
Should we Aaron Lewis is the singer of Stained?
main. Yeah.
We should let some listeners probably don't know that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Aaron Lewis of Stained. Mud Shovel's a good song. Uh,
Yeah. We
I
are
do
talking
like
about 25 years ago.
I also would like to say that their cover of The Sounds of Silence is one
Not
of the
bad.
funniest things because
Yeah.
it's just like it makes no sense that they did.
Yeah. My mom liked it. My mom made me watch that YouTube video of him doing the sound of silence. And she was like, you know what? It's not that bad. I'm like, my mom is having me sit down and listen to Stained.
Okay. They also do a cover of Land of Confusion by Genesis.
That one's not bad.
It's not bad. Also, I believe it's animated by Todd McFarlane Studios.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, definitely.
Like, which of course it is.
Yeah, yeah. I
They
mean,
are the spawn of bands. So, like,
well, Korn did it before them, and that was pretty spot on.
I mean, yeah, they had him draw the album cover to Follow the Leader.
Wait, and didn't he do the video for Fall
Well,
Leader as
well,
well?
yeah, because they were like, let's work together, dude. And they're on the Spawn, the Corn's on the Spawn soundtrack.
Sounds right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
probably true.
But oh god, what was it? Oh, so anyway, there's this really terrible radio station back home. It was called like WAAF, and it was like the rock station,
Mhm.
but they were like the rock station for like guys who like dock working guys who really say like really awful all the time and talk about like they believe in that freedom of speech is that you can say the N-word on Twitter.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Kind of guys, like really dip like blue collar conservatives that don't have any reason to be blue collar, right? And I was like, I hadn't heard that song forever. I went home a couple years ago. I heard that song on the radio when I was like switching through all the dials. I shit you not, I was there for a week. I heard it like 5 or 6 times on the radio. That song is going strong on Boston rock radio still. And that is a popular modern rock station. And they're like, we got to do Aaron Lewis featuring Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. It's just
That
it's one of those weird like regional things where you're like, why does this have to be our thing?
I don't know, whoever owns that station is just really into Stained.
Yes.
They went to college in 2002.
I think they're just like Massachusetts. You got to go for it. Did you guys ever have any like any bands that got like way extra play in your spaces because of
Dave Matthews.
Oh hell yeah, that's right.
I'm
You're
from
right.
Virginia, so he's yeah.
That's better than Stained.
I guess.
It is. I like Dave Matthews.
I liked Dave Matthews more than Stained, but
Yeah, I've seen Dave Matthews probably the most.
in any
Concerts I've
band,
yeah.
I've seen them twice. It's a lot.
Oh, Tom, I graduated. I'm from New England and I graduated high school in 1999.
Okay, so yeah, you've probably got more than 2 under your belt.
I've seen him in a lot of places. I've seen him in Fenway.
Wow.
Willie Nelson opened for him at Fenway.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Actually, I will say like the most insane one was it was either like the summer of 98 or 99, but his openers were The Roots and Carlos Santana.
Okay.
And
That
then
was in 99, you said?
it was 98 or 99 because it was right before Santana dropped the
The
big
Smooth, what was
comeback
that one
album.
called?
Yeah, like Smooth and like something about
Supernatural?
cars. Yeah, Supernatural.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, so like Dave must have already recorded the song that was on there. And he's like, well, why don't you come on tour and we can promote your album coming out?
Oh,
And
yeah, I
then the
forgot he
big
did one on that album.
And then, yeah, it was like Love of My Life or something like that. But then, like, clearly that's not the song that people gave a shit about on that album.
No, that's not the one that blew. It was the Rob Thomas song.
Guys, if you weren't there, you really had to be there.
Man, yeah, that song was everywhere. That song was hot. That was the Badical of songs
No,
for the summer of '99.
there, that and Livin' La Vida Loca, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That Livin' La Vida Loca was such a weirdly popular song at that time that when I was graduating, we had our that like rehearsal march because they were like, "You guys know how to walk."
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Our principal's like, after we did the whole thing, he's like, "Congratulations, you guys did a great job. And as a little gift, we're gonna play you off with something." And it was Livin' La Vida Loca. And I was like, what the is happening here? What is going on right
That's
now?
a perfect choice. Of course, that's what the faculty would pick.
It's like such a it was like the most popular song. Anyway, shout out to Mr. Billy Beck. My favorite burrito is the surf and turf burrito at Cilantro Mexican Grill that has carne asada and shrimp, and it is unbelievable.
I do like a good California, like a good chicken fajita burrito with cheese sauce.
I'm not a cheese sauce guy.
Oh,
I like a melted cheese a lot, but a cheese sauce is like one of my least favorite things. I don't know why. Because I'm an ass.
that's probably why.
It's probably because I'm just a huge ass.
Right. Yeah.
Shout out to the To Be Terror Bunny says the strike may be over, but egg Bob Iger anyway, because him. I'll add David Zaslav on there. We haven't changed that to Zaslav yet.
It should be implicit. I think people understand it.
I want that Wile E. Coyote movie so bad.
Travesty.
Lemming Malloy returns. Big shout out to Lemming Malloy returns.
Unusual for a lemming. Usually it's a one-way trip.
One way. Yeah. Remember that
Yeah.
game? Remember Lemmings?
I do.
How
Yeah.
popular Lemmings was?
Weirdly, there was that became a whole genre of game.
Yeah. Like the murder puzzle.
Yeah. Like the Lost Vikings.
Jesus.
You got to get these three dip through here. They each
gonna
can
be
only
honest.
do one thing.
Video games suck now because they're so good. Like sometimes there's a game where it's like every time a new game comes out that everyone talks about, it's the same kind of game.
Yeah.
It's like it's all just a God of War, but different.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
And that's not fun to me as much
Better
as
a first-person shooter.
where, yeah, right. I want like I like when weird games show, and I guess they do that a lot with like Steam.
There's
A lot of
there's
weird
still plenty
stuff.
of weird games out
And
there for
like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
But there is like sort of that mainstreamness of it where you could get just like Lemmings shows up or like Tetris, like that, like advent of like 8-bit gaming where people look back at it now and they're like, oh, it was so archaic and weird and strange. And I'm like, it was so creative. I miss the creativity. The
Yeah, it's
visuals
still
are
out there.
stunning now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing with movies,
Yeah.
the indie stuff or the lower mid-tier budget stuff is more interesting right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Did you see Cuckoo yet?
I did.
God, I liked that movie.
I did too.
It
I did
grows
not
up
expect where it was going.
The only reason I did is because I knew what cuckoo birds do.
So did I, but I thought it was going to be more of a Stepford Wives situation, and I don't want to spoil it, but anyway,
because of the Stepford Cuckoos from the X-Men.
exactly, yeah, precisely, yeah,
yeah. No, definitely see that movie. By the way, that was great.
I liked it. Yeah.
I just saw The Wild Robot.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Tom,
It looks
very. It's like Iron Giant. If Chris Sanders did the Iron Giant, basically, it's so good.
Man, Iron Giant.
Like I went and saw. I was like, oh yeah, I'm at the movies, and somebody was like, oh, you going to see Joker? I'm like, nope,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I am seeing The Wild Robot because that movie deserves my money. Joker 2's bombing.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to cover it eventually.
We have to cover it. We're going to talk about that after I name.
We're going to cover Gotham eventually.
Oh, shout out to Bat Fadigan. Bart Fartigan. That's the name of the demon from DC Comics. No longer the form of man.
Bart Fartigan.
Bring back the demon, Bart Fartigan. Cool guy listening to a podcast. Huh? What? Does breathe fire, though. Shout out to Norm from Cheers. That's a name you know.
For sure.
Norm's great. Norm's great at doing good, funny little Photoshop things. on the movie night.
That's right. They're really on the ball
Really
on the
good.
movie nights with those photoshops.
Yeah. It really makes me I love when a listener makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Because I love when that happens. Because and you have a lot of that. Gamefully Unemployed has a lot of fans that are just really funny.
Yeah. Really
And
great with images and all
yeah.
sorts of cool, fun stuff. It's a great community. We're really proud of it.
Yeah, yeah, I love it, and also it makes me angry because I'm like, what do you do? You're this so funny. What do you do? What do you do? And they're like, I work at the post office. And I was like, and you're this funny. My foster brother's like that, where he's like one of the funniest people I've ever met. He's just like, this is a regular guy.
Yeah, I think it's probably true for a lot of people.
Yeah. The best
Like,
storyteller I ever met works for OSHA compliance for a factory. And he's literally the greatest storyteller I've ever come across in my entire life. And I'm just like, all right, have fun in Maine. No one cares about stories. You know how Maine, there's nobody cares about stories in Maine.
precisely, yeah, I know
They don't
exactly.
care
It's
about that.
not a state known for its storytellers.
Shout out to Dan Hackroyd.
And
Shout out,
Hackroyd.
shout out to normal man Andrew McGuire. Shout out to check out this month's Nerd with Dre and Jeff. And then Dre says, I could say whatever I want about this. Tom, this next season, holiday themed ghouls.
Good, great. That's a crusade I've been on for a while. We need more holiday themed horror movies.
No, it's just ghouls in general. So October, General Mills monster cereals.
Oh, I see where you went with it.
And then do you want I will give you a spoiler alert as to what the episode of Nerd in November is going to be.
Sure. Lay it on me.
Survivor Series 1990, the debut of The Undertaker.
The Dead Man.
That dude showed up on Thanksgiving.
He did. That's true. Yeah.
And Tom, important to note, I was there.
Oh, okay.
I was there.
Wow.
For Connecticut.
How old were you?
I just turned 9.
Damn.
I just turned 9. I tricked my dad. We didn't really trick our dad. My dad was one of those guys that hates cities, you know. And so like I think it was there was like a house show or something was coming to the Boston Garden. And my dad's like,
Mhm.
I'm not driving into Boston. I hate Boston. I hate driving into Boston. It sucks. He's right.
Driving into Boston for an event does sound like a nightmare.
It is. It's awful. And he was like, I'll tell you what though. The next time something comes to either Worcester, Providence, or Hartford, we'll go. They were all just kind of a little bit closer. I think Hartford was about the same distance as Boston, you know. And then like 2 weeks later, they announced the Survivor Series was going to be in Hartford. And my brother and I were smart enough to make my dad sign a contract. And so
There
we were
you go.
like, here you go. And so he's like, I guess I gotta do it. I guess I gotta do it.
That's pretty sweet though.
Yeah, yeah. And the great part was is I was so fat as a kid that I bought a Hulk Hogan tank top that fit me. And then as an adult, it also fit me.
Sweet. Yeah, no, that was you were planning ahead. You were investing
Yeah.
in your future.
I ripped that off in my last fight. I wore it to the ring and then I tore it off. And that was just
Aw,
a mistake because that thing's worth a fortune.
why'd you do that?
Because I thought it would be funny.
It's a 30-year-old shirt though.
Yeah,
You could have made one. You could have made one at the mall for like $20.
I sure could have. Yeah. Tom, why are you trying to I can't go back and undo that. I wish
Yes.
I didn't do that. I wish I didn't, Tom.
I
Now I
regret
can
it
show
every
people
second.
how cool I am with my Hulk Hogan tank top. You know how cool Hulk Hogan is right now?
That's true. That's true. It's not exactly a treasured piece of memorabilia.
Trump loving N-word cucking Hulk Hogan. Man, what a
I
bad
think
dude, huh?
yeah, it's a real piece of
And it's like when you
I
heard
like on the
people,
new Mr. McMahon doc on
oh
Netflix where
yeah.
he's just like, "Yeah, I stonewalled Jesse. I ratted Jesse
He's
out.
like, "You're damn right I did." And I was like, well, at least you
He was
own
trying
it.
to with my money, so I let Vince know."
So I
Tell you
with
what,
everyone
brother.
else. I love that. We'll talk about that McMahon documentary too for a second because I very much want to because I did just watch it. Shout out to Watch Me Use These Prehensile Nipples to pick up pennies off the floor. Tom, you may or may not know this. A lot of nipple talk
Okay, a lot of nips.
in the producers here.
Sure.
Shout out to the Oatmeal Savage. Shout out to Call Me Sean or whatever. And also a little bonus, I want to give a big shout out to at YTP Renewed, who had me and Adam record an audio track commentary of 2 episodes of Sonic X in Japanese. Tom,
Sure.
everything you know about Adam Todd Brown, are you like Sonic X in Japanese is something that he needs to do? Because this guy was like, he absolutely does. And I got to agree that YTP Renewed absolutely is correct in that. And he also signed up for another month at that tier, at the I'll do whatever you want tier. So
It's
I
a
don't
good
know what he's
tier.
going to have me do next. I'm very excited about that. But I am throwing him in as a producer of this show as well. Because why not?
Making Adam watch a Sonic Japanese.
And it's so funny because like I'll say this out because it's great. Because this is actually another idea I kind of stole from you guys. You guys have your like Dave and I will do a podcast for
Oh,
you.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
So I came up one that was a little bit different because I'm a one-man show here. And I was like, well, look, I'll co-host a podcast with you and you can own it, your property, do whatever you want with it. And this guy was like, will you do an audio commentary? I was like, yeah, man, sure, why not? And so Adam and I did it. And I paid him in tennis cards.
That works.
I paid Adam in tennis cards to talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog anime.
Which
Uh,
cards?
they were Topps Chrome Sapphire.
That sounds impressive.
It was nice. I think it was like $100 worth of cards.
Oh, damn. All right.
It was
I'll
good.
watch Sonic for $100.
Right? Like it was
Sure,
funny.
man.
And actually, spoiler alert for those of you that are listening on the Patreon. I hope you like tomorrow's episode of, I guess Dave and Jeff watch Batman, but Tom and Jeff watch Batman. Tom, did I tell you what we did?
No, I don't think so.
Spoiler alert. Dave and I just watched Suicide Squad and did a audio commentary for it. 2016.
The David Ayer one?
Yes.
Oh, man. Ugh.
We just did a commentary on it. And it was harder than you'd think to do one of those over Zoom.
And we did a few of those early on, but we did them in person.
I told him I was like, Dave, next time if we're gonna do this again, just come over.
We did Dante's Peak. I think we did one other one. We definitely did Dante's Peak
I
in the
like
early days of the Patreon.
I actually do want to shout out YTP Renewed for giving me the idea of like, dude, you can do these. Like you can do one of these. And then when I was coming up, because like I had a 1 episode filler I needed to do before your return to the show. And so I was talking to Dave and I was like, well, there's nothing that's one really that. And I liked with Dave, we did Suicide Squad Isekai, which Tom, you owe me money for not having to watch that show. Tom, it is the worst thing that
That's what you've told me. I'm glad you
it's
shielded me from it.
maybe X Ruby is worse.
Oh,
Justice
yeah.
League X Ruby is a little bit worse, but not by much.
Yeah, that was up there. I'm trying to think of the worst thing we've watched just in terms of being boring, but I don't know.
I think it's the
It
Ruby
might be the Ruby thing. Yeah.
because like yeah, let's talk about that because of course we've been doing Tom and Jeff Watch Batman now since early 2018 or mid
Yep.
2018, right?
Yeah. Early mid 2018. Yeah. It's the
So
same around the same. We started that one first, and then right after that, I think we started Mulder.
yeah, that was like was that the first Patreon exclusive show?
I believe so. Yes.
And that was fun. We did not plan this at all.
No.
And
In fact, if you go and listen to those early episodes, the format is weird. It's
tried
whatever.
coming up with hooks and like
Yeah,
little
and then
games to play, and we were like, people don't want this.
we don't really need this.
Yeah. So, and I get it because like you listen, there are very popular things, you think of like Caravan of Garbage or something like that, where they play little games and stuff like that. Very
Well,
talented.
sure, and we do it on Mulder. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes it's just the show dictates what kind of format you need. You just kind of figure it out.
And what we've decided and what we've sort of discovered is that Tom, you and I are really good at making long running bits that you never like. The best part about this is all of the bits that have existed in Tom and Jeff Watch Batman in our illustrious 6.5
years
experience here is that you cannot plan a good bit. You just can't on our show. Like
no, you never know what the thing is going to be because 99% of the time we haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to jump out to one of us as being, I mean, sometimes like I'll see something and be like, I know Jeff's going to talk about that.
100. But then like there's bits where like, and there are bits that were legendary that I forgot about. I forgot that we did a whole thing about Tom Brady being the Riddler.
I don't remember that at all.
And I
Oh,
remembered it
wow.
somehow because somebody sent a Photoshop they did of Tom Brady in a Patriots uniform, but they like photoshopped, I believe, a green domino mask under his football helmet, and they put a little like question mark over the on the
That's
top of the
pretty
helmet.
it's pretty great.
And I'm thinking about that, and I thought that occurred to me, and I'm like, that's we couldn't have written that. There's
My
no
fa
bit that could be written.
my favorite, I don't remember who did it. I'm sorry. My favorite is the when we did the wrestling riff. It was one of the episodes where we had Dave on as a guest, and somebody, one of our listeners, went and animated it on YouTube, and it's all the Gotham City Rogues as different personalities in WWF, and it was just the funniest thing.
It's
And
so
the
good.
animation is really great. I'm sorry I don't remember who did it.
Well, as we're talking in, I will find it.
Oh, okay. Good, 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 because they deserve to be shouted out.
We have had a lot of really, really funny.
That one, Good Guy Croc, I like a lot.
Yes, good guy Croc, very funny.
Feminist ally Killer Croc.
Yeah, good boss Scarecrow.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But then
right.
there's stuff too that like that work in a narrative sense, right? But like when you look at it, it's like how do I say? There's a Jonah Hex episode of Batman that's a past story, right? So
Yeah,
it's this former story of
it's the Ra's al Ghul one, right?
Ra's al Ghul. And what we realized halfway through watching this is that this is just Ra's al Ghul assuming what happened,
Right, because
but
he
there's
didn't.
also a sex scene in the episode. There's a scene where it's like dark and quiet, and these like he clearly intimates that there is sex happening, right?
Right, and it's all the conceit is that it's Bruce listening to an audio cassette of Ra's al Ghul narrating this. So it's
Dictating
like
it.
Ra's al Ghul is dictating this set scene.
He's like telling he's dictating a scene that he doesn't know happened.
Right, yeah,
So
he
he's just
wasn't there
like,
to witness
well,
it.
I'm going to fill in the blanks here. Like he's
If you take
just
my meaning, detective, filling in the blanks.
get it? Like her sweet southwestern vagina. You get it? Detective. I'm still trying to find that video, by the way. It's like surprisingly hard to find. I think it's
That's a shame.
yeah. I know it's here somewhere. Like I've tweeted about it and stuff, but like
Yeah, yeah, we definitely
YouTube, I'm
shared it.
like looking up on the YouTube algorithm and it's a whole bunch of like, oh, you want WWE? It's like, well,
I
kinda.
do.
I kind of do want WWE stuff, but also, do I? Yes. Yes, I do. Okay. All right. He found it. It is called Batmania, and it was Officer Mancorn, OFFICERMANKORN on YouTube.
Solid.
And it's just me, you, and Dave riffing on the idea that Gotham, all of Gotham's characters would actually be like
Different WWE
golden age,
superstars.
like the WWF Superstars era of that. And it's just so much fun and so perfect. And you guys should do more of that. But we've been doing this for so long. You and I, like, we have this really, like, we know each other so well that we now know what the other person is going to glom onto, which I think is very fun.
Yeah.
And we know how to build the other person up in a very good way as far as like the way their comedic style is. And I think that's a really good recipe for our show.
Yeah, we're Abbott and Costelloing our way through Batman.
A little bit. Like I always tell people like we're smoking the whole carton of Batman.
It's all of it. Every single Batman.
All of it. And it's funny too because rudely you had a baby in the middle of
I
one of our
know.
most insane series that we've covered, which is the 1949 or
Yes.
39
It's
serial or
39,
43.
39, I think.
Who knows?
I forget. I
No,
wish I think it's
40.
39.
It's
Or is it
49. There's
okay.
1943 and then 1949.
Okay, okay, okay. It's 49. It's the black and white Batman serials, 1940s Batman, and it is flat out the funniest damn thing we've ever watched.
Now,
I love it so
the
much.
funniest part about that, though, Tom, is that because of that, I took a break and then with Dave watched anime for 10 weeks. So, like, now I have to go back to the like clunkiest, weirdest like version of Batman you could
It's a
possibly
refreshing
imagine.
balm, though. Yeah, 40s Batman. He's just all cigarette wheezing, and
He's like, oh, I'm hungry. I better eat this scoop of lard before I get there. My energy giving lard.
he loses all of his fights.
He loses so many fights to regular men.
Yeah, to just regular dudes. What was that dude's name? Noah?
Nolan.
Nolan. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, Nolan really had his number for a while.
Well, Batman, people seem to forget too that Batman the Animated Series season 1 has way more stinkers than you realize. And a lot of it is him getting beaten up by dudes in suits. Like it happens more than you realize.
There's
Or
have
like
you watched
weird Shakespearean dip child.
that's
Bat-
another it's another bit. Gotham Strong.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to be
Everyone in
so
Gotham
powerful
looks like an upside down triangle.
because every third person is a psychopath. So it's just one of those things where you're just like, all right, I guess. All right. Like
Have you watched Cape Crusader yet?
I have
The
not.
Amazon series?
I haven't been able to. I have noticed that there is a very specific subset of human that is very upset with it.
It should
And
tell you how good it is.
I'm going to like it.
It's minor spoiler, but there is a scene where Bruce, because you mentioned Bruce getting his ass whipped by regular people, where he gets his ass whipped really bad by carnies, and I mean, like they do the pull the jacket down over his arms so he can't
Oh,
move.
so good.
Like
They hockey beat it.
yeah, they kick his ass.
Yeah. That's all I want. All
Pretty
I want
great.
is to see Bruce Wayne get hockey beaten by carnies.
And he's Bruce Wayne at the time. He's not Batman.
Oh, so this is pre-Batman?
Oh, well, he is Batman, but
Oh,
when he gets beaten up, he is getting beaten up as Bruce Wayne. He's not in the costume as Batman.
you ever see the comic panel or I forget what it's from, but it's where like Superman is in his Clark guys and the Joker is trying to kill him. And you can see him like trying to figure out what to do to make this a believable experience for everyone involved. Because
I
he's
think
just
we've
like, I don't know what to do about this.
I think we've talked about either that or we've just talked about an idea like that on the show sometime before about how that would be a really funny storyline.
Yeah, it's funny too.
Somebody trying to kill Clark Kent.
Somebody did a tweet about it, which means it'll never happen. But they did a tweet. They were like, I would love it so that like the CIA tries to assassinate Clark Kent, and he has to try to find ways to, and it's like, and I'm just like, first off, it's not as funny an idea as you think. But second off, now they can't do that. Like anytime you tweet something at a creator, they have to
Oh
block.
yeah.
Like they can't do that because now your dumbass is gonna sue them.
Yeah, that's why people don't take unsolicited manuscripts or scripts or idea pitches or things like that. It's very, very sticky legally.
Yeah, that's like that did happen with Deadpool.
Hey everyone, it's me, Jeff, piping in to correct a very stupid mistake that I made that you're about to hear. You see, in my speaking out against people sending unsolicited ideas to celebrities and creators, I take a very hard stance on the Once Upon a Deadpool fiasco from a few years ago. You remember the one. With little to no knowledge of what actually happened, as opposed to what the internet chose to frame the narrative as. The original poster, the incredibly talented Michael Vincent Bramley, just so happens to be the visual artist behind not only Badical, but many other artworks featured in places like Gamefully Unemployed, Small Beans, and many, many more. He actually reached out to correct my absolute misremembering and mishandling of the story, as well as how I reacted to it. Turns out that he never whined or complained or sued anybody over this, nor was the idea pitched to execs before he had tweeted that. Michael actually took everything with a sense of humor and good nature, but the internet actually refused to allow that kind of positivity, instead of opting for think pieces, dogpiling, and just a general chasing away of Michael. They never cared for the truth, and here I am, a prime example of how having a strong opinion about something that never truly happened is going to make you look stupid and do harm. In doing so, I am an egregious perpetrator of the dangers of the internet and social media. So in short, I screwed up big time. I mouthed off about a thing I wasn't fully aware of in my righteous indignation against unsolicited idea pitches to creatives. It turns out that this event is so much more nuanced in reality than what people, including many of my friends in the comic community, and I sure as hell wish I had been better about that. So I'm actually going to keep my mistake in here with this preface very much here, so you know that everything I'm about to say is me talking right out of my ass about something I didn't actually know about. So my sincerest apologies going out to the incredible Michael Vincent Bramley. And please do me a favor, give him a follow on Instagram at MVBramleyArt. That's MVBRAMLEY art, to see some of his incredible artwork and just to see somebody who's just been dealing with some crap. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And back to the show.
Yeah. It's happened a few times.
When they did the Christmas thing and somebody was like, that was my idea. And they were like, we had already shot this when you tweeted that. Like, and now you think you have a legal right to our idea because you also had the idea. Like, there are how many people on Twitter and in, Instagram, social media, like hundreds of millions. And you're just sitting there and you're like, yeah, some people are going to have the same idea. Parallel thinking is a real thing.
So we got 2 Hercules movies in the same year. And them 2 Meteor movies. Armageddon and Deep Impact, same year.
That does happen. That happens. I always love that when Hollywood tries to make a character happen. Like every time they try a Robin Hood movie, and you're like,
they keep trying that. That's because he's public domain.
King Arthur.
Yeah, same reason.
Tarzan.
Same reason.
Like, sorry, man, no one cares. Nobody cares.
Peter Pan is another one.
Peter Pan, they love it. They love it.
It's because it's an IP that everybody knows and you don't have to pay any money for.
Yeah, but you also lose a bunch of money for it.
Yeah.
That's the other part. It's like they're all bad movies. Robin Hood Men in Tights. That's a good movie.
It's pretty good. I am a Prince of Thieves defender.
I
love me some Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think Kevin Costner, I mean, this is a hacky bit that's been talked about often, but like he should have picked one accent and just rolled with it.
Oh, for sure.
The fact that he went British sometimes is just really bad to me. Because it's also like he's not a bad actor.
No, he's just Costner.
Yeah, but I think Kevin Costner has almost exclusively played men I would hate in real life.
Yes, that's true.
I'm trying to think about it, and like maybe Crash from Bull Durham, I would like.
Yeah, maybe.
There's like
Tin Cup's an ass.
Tim Cup is that, but it's not even just that. Like his version of Pa Kent, I hate. I don't like him.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
So I think he's kind of a
right.
He's what Zack Snyder would think a good dad is.
Yeah, he widows his wife to save a dog.
And because he doesn't want his kid to reveal a thing his kid has already revealed.
Yeah.
Don't let people know that you could lift a bus. They saw me lift the bus.
They saw me do it. It's fine. It's fine. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
That's literally Superman.
But yeah, like what other Kevin Costner characters would I have liked? I do not think I would have liked his whatever. What's the name of that show that he's on? Yellowstone. I don't think I would have liked that guy.
Probably not. I don't know.
I would have hated the Yellowstone guy. Waterworld. He's
hateable in Waterworld.
Waterworld.
Yeah, like too much. Like it's an unsuccessful movie.
For me, it's the gills,
and partially because of that.
It's the gills. I don't like him because of his gills.
Yeah.
For love of the game,
I'm a real gill racist.
I don't know. Professional athletes can go half and half on that one. Kevin Costner, man.
Field of Dreams.
Stubborn. I don't like it.
Not for me.
Very stubborn. I would have been what's his name? Timothy Busfield in that. I would have been like, you are destroying your family, my sister's life because of ghosts.
You need to get your shit together.
Why do they have to do? Why is it like bearded redheads have to be the guys that are like wrong because they're in reality? Like when you look at like Ghostbusters and Walter Peck.
Oh yeah.
And you look at Timothy Busfield and you're like, we need a bearded redhead to try to bring this movie back to reality, and then we need to prove that he's an ass. I don't like it. I don't like that. Hey Tom, what's it like being a dad now?
It's weird.
What's that like? Like, what are your days like now?
Well, I sleep for 3 or 4 hours.
Really?
I have no time, no free time, really. No, it's good. It's a huge adjustment, obviously. But babies are pretty neat.
Is it actually neat? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really is. Like I know everybody says that, but like I guess there's a reason everybody says that. I don't know. It's just I'm still in that phase where it hasn't really fully sunken in. Like I
Sure.
don't feel like a dad.
The kid can't be an ass yet either.
No.
Like the kid's just existing at this point. Like it's not gonna
Right. And yeah, and all she can do is make sounds to try and communicate with us. So, you can't really be mad at a baby for crying.
no, it's kind of their thing.
Yeah, it's all she can do. She's just trying to tell
Did
me
you get
that something
mad
was
at the
wrong.
ocean for being wet?
Exactly. Um, yeah, it's just it's surreal. It's so like it's just all of a sudden there's another person in the house.
Sure, yeah, like an
And
invader. I've had that
no,
feeling all the time when I'm asleep. I'm like, "There's another person in the house."
there's somebody else in this
Did
house.
somebody have a baby?
There's a baby somewhere around
A
here.
baby has broken into my house.
Run into your panic room.
I must protect it. So I have all
It's a
these Home
baby
Alone
in Jared Leto cornrows.
out, baby's day out.
But yeah, it's just it doesn't feel like an invasion. It's just man, it's really hard to explain. It's just all of a sudden there's another person there, and it just becomes like I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but it's been the same for Marina and I, where we just sort of kind of immediately fell into like a rhythm. Like, okay, now we're like part of a team with an objective now, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh, okay,
okay,
yeah.
like we're like I take the baby on these, you take the baby on these. Okay, we got to change your diapers and do that. Okay, we got to do this doctor appointment. We got to get this formula. We got to make sure these bottles are clean. It's just we very easily fell into like this sort of regimented, I guess not regimented, but just the order of taking care of the baby. And
It
that just kind of happened.
so it's funny, like, when you're a person like me who, like I mean, the reality is setting in. I'm never gonna have a kid, you know?
Mhm.
But it's like one of those things where, like, I look at it and, like, people have described it a lot as sort of like a pod people thing, where people are like, you have to become a new person because you have this
Yes.
being here, and also your priorities instinctively shift. Like all of a sudden, like you become a person who doesn't care about the things they just cared about because the clearly the most important thing that you've ever done just happened. And you're like,
Yeah.
all of my emotional and intellectual resources need to be placed into this thing. But it doesn't seem
Yeah.
like a conscious choice, right? It's just
No, but it is for me anyway, it was a gradual thing.
really
Like it was a gradual adjust. I mean, gradual and immediate, but like I said, I still don't. It still feels surreal. I still don't feel like I still feel weird referring to myself as a dad.
you're a dad.
I know it's weird, but it is sort of where you sort of for me anyway, you still started thinking of your original priorities in that order of priority, but then the more you go back and think of them, like the less it starts to feel, again, this is for me, just less and less and less urgent until now I'm at the point where it's like I'm looking at some things that, like, 3 months ago were at like a medium to high priority. And then now it's just like, why did I ever care about that so much? Like, why was I spending so much energy or time or effort on this when really like this is the most important thing. It's definitely a reorganization of priorities for sure, and
I
it's
guess
sort of like
there's a frivolity to the things that might have existed beforehand, right? Like,
exactly, and it's like, that thing where it's like you have to put away childish things or whatever, and,
yeah, but that's not true because you definitely like did kickstarted Monsters.
well, yeah, no, you don't really, but, like, and I'm recording this in a room surrounded by action figures, but, what I mean is it just like, I spent the first part of my, adulthood completely focused on myself and my career, right? Like beginning in my 20s, and now I'm 41. So now it's
Nice.
like yeah, so now it's like, okay, I need to shift that thinking now, because obviously my career is still important, but now it's like, well, now I have this other set of priorities with a family, that this is what the next sort of half of my life is going to be about. And it's like I can I'm still not I don't think I'm in the process of like transitioning from that person into this person. So that's what I mean when I say like it's like a gradual thing. Like I
Yeah.
can feel the priorities shifting, and I can tell that it's going to be even more like right now in this moment as we're recording this, there's stuff in my mind that I'm still considering that's like super important or like, you know, high priority that I know a month from now I'll be looking at this and being like, why was I worried about that?
I mean, that's fair. But it is definitely because you're in that like new parent
Yeah.
era
Yeah.
because
She's
like the baby's
11
what,
weeks
11
old.
weeks old,
11
right?
weeks old. Yeah.
Yeah. Which like I don't know how I knew 11 weeks old. Good from I guess the number of episodes of Tom and Jerry Watch Batman. That's how I keep track.
Roundabout. Yeah.
That's how I stay sane in prison is I just catch up the
Count
number
the
of episodes.
podcast episodes we've done.
But yeah, because I was thinking about it and I was like, man, like Tom, like we were so similar like before baby. And so
Mhm.
like I really I am genuinely fascinated by like where like what the process is of like being like, well, now I have a baby. And so like now I don't give a shit about Batman or something. But it's like, but also like, yes, I do. You know, kind of a
Yeah,
thing. Like,
of course I do. It's just I have to be more realistic about stuff than I was before.
yeah.
Like before I could sort of indulge any interest. For
You don't have to go
instance,
see a movie, you could just see it.
sure. And if I want to, yeah, read this thing, I can do that. Or if I want to get into this hobby, I can get into this hobby. You know, if I want to,
How's that
yeah.
overpower order coming?
Oh yeah, it sure it like I'm not. Look, it's overpower, man.
I might have to get it. I might have
Yeah,
to.
I'm gonna get in on the overpower reboot. They are going for the Marvel license and all the other licenses, but it's sort of I just am realizing now that it's I have to be I can't indulge every interest that I have.
Because
I
of the baby.
can't exactly, and it's just and it's not just a limit of I can't be spending money this way because not all of indulging an interest involves spending money, but it's also the time and my attention and mind share. It's like I don't have the space for this anymore, and I'm not going to for many years. Like even like now, I only have a few hours where I can sit and record this with you.
And which was like definitely one of those things where I was like, Tom, whenever. When you were like, when can we do it? I'm like, dude, I will get up at 5 a.m. If that's what you need on that. I
It
was
turns out babies are a lot of work.
yeah, they are. I mean, you're like, how you can't do that. You haven't thought have you thought about abandoning your family
I have a
in your
lot.
life?
Yeah.
Just a different
I have a
John
wig.
and Jeff watch Batman all of a sudden starts.
Yeah. Philip,
You,
I don't know.
you have a voice modulator on.
Dante and Jeff watch Batman. Give myself a real tool ass fake name.
Yeah, shout out to all the Dantes listening. We think you're
Hot Rod and Jeff watch Batman.
Blitz and Jeff. You famously are a fan of games. You like games.
I do.
And yeah, you did sort of overpower is the I gotta mail you out your games. I still have your
Oh
game.
yeah,
Whoops.
please do.
Oh, whoops, my bad.
Oh no, you're fine.
Send it to you in a week
are
and a
ready.
half.
Thanks.
But yeah, so yeah, you doing the overpower thing, and so I was wondering, like, one of the things I wanted to bring up is that we are on a Snap League.
We are, yeah, Marvel Snap.
Me, you, Logan Trent, John Reimann, and I think
A buddy of mine from
okay, it's one of your friends, right?
yeah.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I know this is pretty dumb, but I was like, we should make a tier. That's how warped my brain is now at this
Oh, I thought of
time.
it too. I
We're
texted
like,
you.
did we? Because
I
I
think
thought I
so.
think we had that conversation where we're like, we should each have a tier where if you sign up, you get to be in our
Our
like
Snap
plan.
League. And really it's selfish so we can get the weekly reward.
I want the weekly rewards.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Tom, I will get like really high at night and just chase rewards like so like my cubes go really down. So like you earn cubes, which are like not really currency, but it's like a leveling system.
Yeah.
It's sort of like XP, but you can gain and lose them. But then also there are like these like things that you can accomplish, like little side quests on your process. And I just go for the side quests. So the next show,
It's
like Jeff has 10,000 side quest points, but he has got negative 80 cubes.
yeah, no cubes. Yeah, it's you have to either pick, do I want rank or do I want to boost my collection, really?
Yeah.
And I always go collection.
I'm like, I'm gonna collect some. It is
Yeah,
funny though,
I want new cards. Yeah.
because I remember you said John was chasing me one time, and I was like, I am depressed with free time.
He did come out on top one week.
I was too
He took it
depressed to
from you.
play Marvel Snap, actually.
He saw his in.
That
He
was
saw
really the thing. I was
your
like,
weakness.
and I saw it, he was going for it, and I started to be like, maybe I should chase, and I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I do. I love Marvel Snap. I think you sold me on it.
Oh, I'm sorry if I did.
You were
'Cause
like, you got to get, it's one of us sold, but somebody told me like, you got to get Marvel Snap. And I fought it away. Might have been Josh Gallegos. And then maybe I told you to get it, or
Oh, I was in on it
you were
from
on it right away.
before.
So
I
it's
was
definitely
watching
was
it
you.
from before it released. So no, I was into this game before it came out.
So for those of you that don't know, it's an online trading card game where you have
Yeah.
these cards and they like do things like sometimes they do things at random, but it's like, it's really one of my favorite things to do is deck build. And I loved deck building. Like I loved manipulation. Like if you ever listen to the Star Wars CCG episode of Nerd, when we talked about like how I just liked doing things like in the middle of like my big galactic Star Wars battle, I'm like, and now we're gonna play Sabak again. And just like I would just like gamble and win people's weapons and ships and stuff, and like Adam, or like now I'm playing an all Jawa deck, and just to fuck with you. Is there a theme that you love in Marvel Snap that you're like, what kind of, what are you trying to get work? What has worked the most for you? We exchange a lot of like ideas with each other too.
Yeah. I like that the decks in Snap are so small too, because it can be daunting to try to build a deck for like Magic.
Yes, it's 20 cards, so it's a third of the size of a regular.
It's even less than 20. Or is it 20?
20.
It is 20. Okay.
17, 3 in your hand to start 17.
Okay. I think my favorites are Destroy, Discard, which are two different ones, and Move.
I've really been enjoying Move.
Move is pretty slick,
especially with Shock or whatever.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah.
Scream.
Scream. Yeah, she steals points from people when they move.
Yeah, the enemy cards when they move. So that's a pretty good card.
Yeah, that's right.
I still like a Hercules, but like
I
if
don't
you
use Hercules in my move.
They buffed him recently, and Hercules is good for bouncing opponents' cards. So if you team Scream up with like Magneto and Hercules and Polaris, Kingpin, Doc Ock. Well, actually, I don't think Doc Ock would count as a move. Anyway, there's possibilities there. But I like the move one because it's unpredictable. Like a move, when I come up against a move deck, it always makes me a little tense. Because you're like, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, you know the game of it, but there's a lot of different ways to do it. Oh, I also like high evolutionary decks.
Oh, I remember I sent you an evolution deck, right? Like I was like,
yeah.
And I think you sent a message just like, I'm having so much fun with this deck.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I also like to do every once in a while just good cards decks.
Yeah.
Which is basically when there is no synergy. It's just every single card is a good play.
That's usually an Artisham deck. It's
Arisham does it a lot. Yeah.
I know that this is like, sounds like we're speaking insane language, but it's like,
yeah,
it's a fun game that you can like
there's
dive
a couple of Snap players that are listening to this.
A couple that are like, yeah, like about realistically, about 80% of the listeners are very excited about this. It's one of those scenarios, but it is one of those things where it's just, I find it to be like a pure form of fun that I can enjoy in a very short time.
That's the other really cool thing about it, is that the matches only take 3 minutes tops. So yeah, it's been good for me because I can play it one-handed, so I can be holding the baby.
Because you have a baby.
Because I have a whole baby, an entire baby.
And that baby sucks at Marvel Snap.
No good. Really garbage.
Really
awful at it. Doesn't understand synergy, just plays cards randomly.
One of my favorite, I have two decks that are two decks that I find really fun to play with just because they're annoying. One, the actual name of the deck is called Deck, and all it is it's just me with their deck the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like planting stuff in, like making it so they can't draw, adding into their deck. Like it's really just like manipulating their decks every way that I can. And then the other one is I call it fat ass deck, where I just keep filling up their deck with cards. So they have like 25 rocks.
It's a Darkhawk deck.
It's a Darkhawk deck. It's got like a Rock Slide and Korg and like all that, but it also has a beast, so I can pull them up and just do it again. Black Widow.
Master Mold.
Master Mold is
Master
very much
Mold's
in
a
there.
son of a
Yeah. Master Mold sucks against a discard deck, but he's very good if you're playing a discard deck to play on the last turn. Because somebody's like, and now I'm going to use Dracula so I can get a pocket. Oh no, it's a Sentinel.
Oh no, now I have 2 Sentinels in my Yeah, it's good when you stuff somebody's hand.
A lot of like Baron Zemo, Green Goblin. So basically I'm like Baron Mordo and all the Barons. But it basically like my whole thing is to like make it so that you can't do anything as I'm filling up your side with silly and like that's fun.
We got some Viper in there.
So I don't have Viper, but I have like Debris.
Sure.
Goose.
Yeah.
I have Goose. I have Debris. I have Green Goblin. So it's I have White Widow. So I'm just basically like filling up, like I'm making it so they can't play anything while I'm filling up their entire space.
It's kind of a junk deck. Yeah.
It's junk, yeah. But that's funny to
You're just clogging them up with trash.
the reason that I'm stretching this part of the conversation out is because I can't do that with regular cards anymore. Like I'm alone. There isn't like a card game league nearby that I have the time, money, or energy to invest. But I can play you in Marvel Snap. Or like I can do, and like, so that's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I actually really like this.
Yeah, it's it's a free to play game. I understand it's predatory in all the way those games are predatory, but
Microtransactions,
oh yeah,
$120 a month a year on this game.
yeah, I spend at least that much.
I just do the
But I like it.
$9.99.
Oh yeah, the season pass thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
Their seasons are monthly, which is also in itself kind of a gouge.
Fucking let's do it, baby. What's the last movie you saw in the theater?
Oh man, I think it was the Crow remake.
What are you doing?
I didn't. I went with people to see it. I did not want to watch it. It was not my choice.
You had to
a
see
film
it.
to watch. I didn't have to see it, but I decided to go to the movies with this person who wanted to see it.
Okay. That's so nice of you that you're like, my time is so limited. I'll go see The Crow. Like, that's a really nice thing.
I figured, well, how bad could a Crow remake be?
Is it as long as all the other Crow movies?
As long as he's crowing in it. And I got to tell you, it's a 2-hour movie and he doesn't crow but for the last 30 minutes.
That's a 25% crowing.
Yeah. The crowing was good.
That's cool.
Just skip to the crowing.
People seem to forget. One of the funniest things about that movie is like the guy that directed the Brandon Lee movie, like spoke out.
It's
this movie.
Alex Proyas, I think is his name, director of Dark City.
And he was like, I can't believe they would do this. And it's like, bro, they did 7.
They did so many Crow movies. They
did like so many. Why do you
made for
care now?
cable Crow movies?
What the is they did a series?
It's not even your property.
Shut up.
It's based on a comic.
Mouth. I'm sorry you killed Brandon Lee. Right? You killed him, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, the family tried to get the actor Michael Massey prosecuted. Guy who played Fun Boy.
Do they think he meant to murder Brandon Lee?
I don't know.
That wasn't very fun, boy.
It sure wasn't.
Man, imagine if we kept Brandon Lee. Imagine a pre-Renaissance charismatic Keanu just being out there.
Yeah, that would have been a different timeline.
Do you think society owes an apology to Keanu Reeves for how mean they were to him after Constantine?
It's cyclical, right? So people were really mean to Keanu in the mid to late 90s until Matrix.
Yeah.
And then people were pretty mean to Keanu post Matrix until John Wick.
Yeah, scum.
Yeah.
Society is filled
with
with
scum of the earth. We forgot all about Point Break and Bill and Ted.
That's like the
Matrix.
people. One of my favorite things
Speed.
is the collective cognitive dissonance that has existed around the film Halloween 3. Because Halloween 3 was reviled until about 2015. And then the internet all collectively decided that they always loved Halloween 3. And nobody talks about all the talk that went on Halloween 3 for like
Yeah.
almost 20 years, or maybe more than 20 years. I don't know. And
It's
it's
mid-'80s.
interesting because Michael Myers is pretty much the most boring character in horror.
Yeah.
I never understood the love of that character.
I don't,
Other than the
it's
first movie.
right. I like the movie
The
Halloween.
number one.
Yeah.
Movie Halloween 1. They called it Halloween 1. But like at that point in time, right? So like Halloween happens, you're like, oh, this is great. And then Halloween 2 happens, and like they're expanding the boring lore of this boring character. And then John Carpenter's like, I'm done. I don't want this character to be the thing. Like, he's done. You can't do anything more with this character.
That was the idea initially, was to
Yeah.
make it was going to be an
An
anthology series, yeah, where each one would be called Halloween, or would take place on Halloween and be called Halloween. But
And buddy, the
totally different thing.
neckbeards lost their damn minds.
How
No
could you hate
stakes.
Halloween 3? A kid's head turns into bugs.
Which is amazing.
So good. There's robots in it. I don't know why.
Because it's
Stonehenge for some reason.
like everyone hated it. Everyone hated that movie, and then they just decided not to, and nobody will ever admit they didn't like it, which I think is so
I didn't. When I was a kid, I did not like that movie. I was like, where's Michael Myers?
right. Like, how hard is that to just admit that you were wrong about a thing? You know,
Well,
like
your tastes change. Like, there's plenty of stuff I did not like when I was younger, then now I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate how weird Halloween 3 is, and how different,
how
and
much of a swing it was, right?
it's such a big swing, and it's so weird, and it's so genuinely horrific in some spots. It's awesome. It's an awesome schlocky little movie.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. That's what I appreciate more out of
Tom Atkins plays a doctor who does nothing but drink pull tab beers. That's all he does. That's
so
just
cool.
Tom Atkins.
It's so weird that the pop top beer can is so new.
Yeah. They still had like the fruit cup pull tab for like the longest time.
Right? That little like
Yeah.
like you pull it off. It's so weird too, like when you hear Margaritaville, you like stepped on a pop top, and everybody's like, a pop tart.
What is he talking about?
Why would you step on a pop tart? That doesn't even make sense. He's like, no, it's a pop top, and everyone's like, well, what the is a pop top? That's what we used to call the top of a beer can when they added the new thing. And you're like, I don't know what society is doing. I have no clue as to what. Like, that's such a weird frozen in time moment in pop culture.
It was a weird thing for him to single out.
Yeah, like it's such a weird.
It's like somebody calling out seatbelts in a song.
Put on my seat belt. Obscure.
Yeah, just like just teeing somebody up to mansplain. You know, they didn't always have seatbelts.
I would absolutely love a song from the 80s that just is all 80s, like really dated references, like turned on some Quincy, had a Nestle's Alpine White bar. Just like, what?
You're leaving me in the dust already.
You don't remember the Nestle's Alpine White?
No.
That's the one
I don't.
I think I've shared the commercial, but it's like the most like weirdly like 80s commercial erotica.
Oh,
and
sweet.
I've never forgotten the song because it was like, you know, the things you can't resist. Nestles. Milky white. Silky white.
No, that's good.
And I
can
always
see
remember
why.
that because my brother and I changed the lyrics to what comes from your ASS? NEST. We were like 6 and 8. We were bad kids,
16.
Tom. We were bad kids. Bad kids. Tom.
Yeah,
I know I have to let you get going soon because you have a baby.
I do.
You do have a baby. I'm gonna keep you for a little bit of Patreon exclusive content, which is the thing we do. But freeloaders, the people that are listening for free, I really appreciate you. Tom, what more should we be on the lookout for? And what should we do? Of course, Gamefully Unemployed, both
Yes.
free feeds and Patreon, both have unique and fantastic stuff on there. What else?
Badical, like we've been talking about, you can check that out on its own feed. Like you said, Gamefully Unemployed. There's our free feeds, and patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed, which has our exclusive shows like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, but also a bunch of other things we do, like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek: The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys. Gosh, I think that's about it
A lot of
for
stuff. You
right
write
now.
for Some More News?
I write for Some More News. I'm on a break from that as well
Because
for
of a baby.
baby stuff.
'Cause-
A lot of things are on pause for right now, but definitely Gamefully Unemployed and Badical should be things that people check out if they want to see what I'm up to at the moment.
I like that. You guys should definitely check out Badical. It's one of my favorite podcast experiences of the entire year. It's so fun. It
Thank
is
you. I appreciate it.
legitimately so fun. So, and of course, now that you've covered that. So, if you're listening on the free feed, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I would appreciate you just a little bit more if you went over to patreon.com/JeffMay, where you can get early access to uncensored episodes of this show, plus bonus content, as well as early access to Nerd with Dre Alvarez, as well as exclusives like Ugg Fine with Kim Crawl. You can also check out at Jeff Has Cool Cards, where I open cards, Tom. I like to open cards. It's really fun.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And on the Patreon,
No, it's pretty great.
It's so fun. When was the last time
I'm-
you've opened a pack of trading cards, Tom?
Man, I bought a bunch of the Star Wars Unlimited trading card game when it came out earlier this year.
Did you open them? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you get any of the like super legendary?
I got a couple of hyperspace foils. Yeah,
Ooh, did you get any rare hyperspace foils?
I got an Emperor Palpatine hyperspace foil.
Is that legendary or rare?
I think it's just rare. I don't know if I have any legendary I got a couple of legendary foils, but not hyperspace foils.
Hell, man, that's rad as hell.
Yeah, man, I was pretty excited about it.
A guy at LA Comic Con tried to charge me $230 for one of the Shadows of Rebellion,
Yeah.
for a hobby box of those. And I was just like, I can get that online for $130 right now.
Yeah, what are you doing, pal? Am I paying you $100 extra for the experience?
I was like, how much for the box? And he started doing math, and I was like, nope. I would have bought it if he was like comped to regular prices. I would have been like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And he's like, but the packs are buy two, get one free. And I was like, you're pricing them at $13 a piece, you psychopath. Anyway, I do a lot of stuff with Adam Todd Brown on the You Don't Even Like This network. And of course, Mint on Card is the second Friday of every month. A blast from the past in beautiful Magnolia in Burbank, California. Tom, we're going to say goodbye to the freeloaders, but I am going to keep you. We're going to play a little game.
Sure. I like games.
You want to play a little game?
I'd love to.
Okay. So guys, follow Tom on all the social medias. Check out Gamefully Unemployed. Follow their free feeds and subscribe to their Patreon so you can hear Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, the last cough, the death rattle of Fox Mulder is a Maniac. Is that right? Like,
we're coming up on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have to replace it with a new show.
Dana Scully is a maniac.
No, we already know what we're going to do. I don't think we've said in the Discord, I think, but I don't think we've officially said anything. So I'm going to continue not doing that.
Can you give me a hint?
It'll be very closely related to the X-Files.
Is it the Bone Gunman?
Yeah.
Porno version of the
Bone Gunman. You nailed it. You nailed it in one.
From the Sex Files.
Much like the Bone Gunman themselves. Nailing it in one.
Yeah, like what? I mean, if you were going to continue, it would be like the Lone Gunman and then Millennium. Would those be like the side quests?
It's the sound of me shrugging.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much, freeloaders. Patrons, stick around. We got more content coming your way. Say goodbye, Tom.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled N-A